Now through Pouon, this might be critical for them as well. Here it is already getting a bit drier again. Not looking as bad as in the part of the track before. So we get the power down. Welcome back to the 1997 FIA GT Championship in Automobilista 2, where we will be on a redemption mission after the disappointing results of the race 2 weeks ago. Today we will be racing at the legendary Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps, where this race in real life was another one that was rain affected, though this time we will first be starting on a dry track. This also was a great comeback race for BMW McLaren, as this race was won by the number 8 car of Sopa and Lehto after a thrilling battle with the Mercedes in the first half of the race. Our number 9 McLaren BMW finished 4th in this one, which could be a nice goal to match for this event, but actually I think the situation in the championship is much more crucial for us to outscore the number 6 Porsche of Thierry Boutsen today, who after his win at the Nürburgring is our main championship rival at the moment. Now let's take a look at the starting grid, where we see ourselves starting in 6th, already behind Boutsen's number 6 Porsche, who will go into this race from the front row. That means nothing though, as you see the rest of the grid on your screen now, as experience has shown that the starting position means absolutely nothing in this series. Again, this one will be won and lost on strategy as we prepare for rain showers during this 1 hour race. Let's go racing at Spa-Francorchamps. Well, and here we are, going through the bus stop chicane to start this race. Lights have gone green and we are racing for round 4 of the 1997 GT Championship, and there is already contact with the panels of Andy Wallace, who again got a great qualifying. We make contact with him, we lock our tyres a bit into La Source. Don't think it was the best decision to go for a move around the outside. Now we're alongside Bernd Mailänder going through Eau Rouge and Ardennes. There is a lot of scraping on the floor. We managed to stay ahead of the number 12 Mercedes. Well, I say that as he slightly edges ahead. He has the inside fully combed, but we tried to hang on round the outside, which we do, and then the second part of that corner is a left, so we now fully move ahead, but we already lost a lot of time to Andrew Gilbert-Scott and Andy Wallace, who are the cars just ahead now. As we run towards Pouon, which is a very, very exciting corner, that very long left-hander that we take with over 160 kilometers per hour. A bit conservative now on this opening lap to try and see how this car behaves around this circuit with a full tank of fuel, especially since I lost a lot of confidence in the car at the Nürburgring race, where I was constantly battling understeer. But I can already tell you, on this opening lap, the car feels much better, much more connected this time, and I feel like I can really push it, as already we are alongside Gilbert-Scott and the Gulf McLaren. Andy Wallace, again, the race pace of the panels is not that strong, and they're a bit of a moving roadblock, but so far Gilbert-Scott couldn't make it alongside, and again I lock the front right, which already has a few flat spots on there. We even have two, poor exit there by Gilbert-Scott, and that brings us alongside, but unfortunately again Andy Wallace closes the outside line, and then Gilbert-Scott stays ahead. I move the brake bias a bit more rearwards because of the 2 lockups I had now on this opening lap. Let's try and see if this helps. Of course, rear locking is also something we do not want, but we had a lot of moments where the front was tending to lock up. Twice it even did. As we see, after a poor exit out of Ardennes, that Gilbert-Scott again into Le Comp was having a little look. But actually, still, he is behind. As we try to have a little look there, and again, contact with the car ahead, because the Panos just cannot get a move on. And the thing is that Thierry Boutsen started second, is already getting away with Bernd Schneider, so we need to get past these two as quick as we can to not lose touch with our main championship rival. You were able to see him there. He is already checking out, so we can't spend much more time, as now we're almost looking for an opening everywhere. We are almost alongside. Well, somehow we managed to get alongside and even tried to make a move on Andy Wallace. That did not work at all. But now we are on the run towards Blanchimont, the bus stop chicane. Maybe there might be another opportunity. We're up to fourth momentarily. I have to lift here and then I run wide through Blanchimont. And that means that Andre Gilbert-Scott again finds an opening. Through the bus stop we go. Side by side we are. There is a bit of touching there, but I think everything's still okay. Now we are past the Gulf McLaren and now into La Source. We're trying to get a good run. Again, Andy Wallace drifts towards the outside, and this time we take the inside line then, and we finally move past the Panos. Now it's just crucial to not mess up the run through Eau Rouge and Radio, so we actually stay ahead on the Camel Straight. And again, a lot of scraping on the floor, but this is looking good. So we are now up into the podium positions, and we jump ahead in time a bit now, as we were catching up to Boutsen and Schneider, who are leading this race in that order, as we finish this lap here with a personal best. And now I let you enjoy the chase after these two in silence, and all you'll hear is the V12 engine of that McLaren BMW. Oh, and out of the bus stop. It is a big moment there for Bernd Schneider. We say thank you very much and easily take P2 in this race. And now we're just behind our championship rival. First and second in the championship are second and first in this race. We try to switch that order around, because a result like that might mean that Boutsen is equal on points with us. We do absolutely want to avoid that. as again a bit of a struggle getting the power down out of Ardennes, or well, I had to lift at the top of the hill there. So no move into Lacombe, but we are very close here. And we get a very good exit. We get a wheel alongside Boutsen, and surprisingly, he just moves out of the way and easily lets us by. But the thing is, what we've learned already is that the Porsches are very, very strong on fuel saving and fuel consumption. So they're very fuel efficient, and we have seen that at the Nürburgring especially, where the McLarens and Mercedes that were usually very, very strong in terms of race pace have all been struggling on fuel, and it was an absolute Porsche show at the Nürburgring. Now we jump ahead in time again, and we are getting close to our pit stop. Now, a couple of things have happened during that period. So, this time, apparently, and that would explain the good race pace of the Porsche, they started with a lot less fuel than what they could fit in their tank. So they have already pitted for fuel and fresh tires. So apparently, either they are having a very long second stint, or they are planning a two-stop. Whereas I am getting very close to my, hopefully, one and only stop. Well, the thing is, I said it at the beginning of this video, rain is expected, and it is expected to start around the halfway point of this race. Now, I want to stretch my fuel as far as I can. I have been starting to save fuel as soon as I passed Boutsen, but it is very close on fuel. We might even need to stop at the end of this lap. I just switched to wet tires, which would be a huge gamble because there is no rain yet. I just know it is coming, and we are spending a minute with changing tires and refueling in the pits, and we definitely need to change tires anyway because that front right will not take another stint. But as I'm making my way back to the start-finish straight, and therefore the pit lane, I need to make a decision. Two decisions, actually. One is that I decide to go back to the soft slick, but then again, I was taking a look at how much fuel I still have in the car, as yeah, all that setting up the pit stop has kind of distracted me, so I made a mistake into the bus stop. But then I spontaneously decided to go for another lap because there is one more lap of fuel in that car. It will be very tight, and I will be needing to save fuel now on this lap, which I do. Bit more lift and coast than usually now, and also run a bit lower revs than I would usually do. But we can wait for another lap, and then maybe do the gamble. Well, misclicking the button. I wanted to request a pit stop, not put the pit limiter on. That has cost us a bit of time, but may also have saved us a bit of fuel, so it's all according to plan. As again, I decide to go for the wets. Take a look at the windscreen. Take a look at my windscreen. There are some drops. The rain is actually starting right now, and still it is a gamble because we don't know how quickly the track will get wet, but usually if it rains in the Ardennes it pours. So that is a gamble we're going to take, and remember, it will be a long pit stop. I already said that, so a lot of time will have gone by with rain falling onto the track while we wait in the pits. And actually, this looks like it is rather heavier rain than just a drizzle. Let's just hope that our decision that we took is right. And the good thing is, Boutsen and Schneider have already stopped, and they went for a set of slicks. So indeed, if it is raining heavier and you will need wets, they will need to make another pit stop. So, into the pits we go. We enter the pit lane first. We park our car here, and now I will skip some time again, because you see 55.6 seconds, 57.3 seconds pit stop time, sorry. As we move out of the pit lane, we are still first. Then I forget to turn the pit limiter off, and Boutsen and Schneider are passed again. But the rain is quite heavy, and I suspect that they are still on dry tires, which might be an okay choice here, because there is not too much rain still on the Camel Straight, but the track will only get wetter, so don't panic. I think we are on the right tire, or we will be on the right tire very, very shortly, and they will need to pit again. It is tight on fuel for us as well, as we make a mistake through Le Combe. Not really getting the braking point right, but look at this. Now here, there is already water on the track, and that is fantastic news. And immediately, you see how much we're gaining on Boutsen and Schneider. Look at that, how much they're struggling to get their cars around this right-hander here. So immediately, we're gaining 2, 3, 4 car lengths through these corners alone. Now through Pouhon, this might be critical for them as well. Here it is already getting a bit drier again. Not looking as bad as in the part of the track before. So we get the power down, and oh my goodness, that is a brown trousers moment. As we almost lose the car at the exit of Pouhon, and this would have been race over, as I am still learning how I need to approach the throttle in these kinds of conditions. We have a replay of this, of course. There's Boutsen and Schneider going through Pouhon, and then look at that. Oh my god, what a drift. But luckily I caught it, and we live to fight another day. And as we're approaching the end of this lap, we see the final sector is flooded. Bus stop chicane. Look at the spray from the cars ahead, and they are still on the dries. Now, it is not expected that this rain is going until the end, so it will stop again, but at the moment, and they still stay out. But the dry tire is absolutely not the right choice. As you can see, easily we breeze past them. I run very wide into La Source, but still, no issues as we retake the lead of this race. Again, Rouge and Radio will be crucial in these circumstances. Let's see how I do that. Carefully, but overall I would say okay, as we stay in the lead. And as expected, the rain stopped and the track got dry very quickly. It is a summer day, we're racing in July here. Also in the in-game date, this race was middle-end July in real life. We always take the date when these races took place in real life. So yeah, skies are clearing a bit. Track's getting very dry very quickly as temperatures are pretty high. So I decide to go into the pits for another time and change for slicks again. And the thing is, and that is a very good thing actually, that we can put a bit of fuel in the car to absolutely make sure we do get to the end of this race, because there is pretty much no danger from behind. They all had to do an extra pit stop to change for wets. Well, they will now have to do another one to change for slicks again. So we have this race absolutely in our control, and you will definitely see this. Look at that. It is not a quick pit stop, not at all. It never is with these cars. But we're still first. There is absolutely no one challenging us for the race win, as again, changing conditions like they were at Silverstone lead to us dominating this race. Now, this will be another tricky part. Cold tires, going out of the pits. This time I'm remembered to turn the pit limiter off. We are passed by one of the works Porsches, but that is Yannick Dalmas, who is already a lap down. Now I'm taking things very careful because there's still a bit of water on this part of the track. Third sector is completely bone dry, but here, first sector still a bit of water, second sector still lots of water, but it was all no problem, and now the track is completely dry, and we are approaching the final lap of this race with just under 30 seconds on the clock. We will make it across the finish line to start our final lap, which I will let again enjoy you in silence. That was not a sentence, as I am going for the fastest lap of this race on the last lap. And that's it, across the line we go to win the race in Spa-Francorchamps. It was the fastest lap of the race with a 2:11.319. And that is a big success for us as we look at the point scorers of this event. And we win by 46.3 seconds, so as I said, absolutely dominant performance. But it was Thierry Boutsen who finished second again. Andrew Gilbert-Scott completes the podium, the first podium for the Gulf McLaren team. Bernd Schneider fourth, Steve Stoper, our teammate, fifth, and Andy Wallace again in changing conditions. Like in Silverstone, David Price Racing Panos scores another point. So, and how does this result translate into the championship standings? Well, we are still in the lead, 10 points now, ahead of Thierry Boutsen, who still keeps us honest, and we need to stay on our toes, because we just need another race like it was at the Nürburgring, and Boutsen will be equal on points with us. Steve Stoper dropping a bit behind in third now. Pedro Lamy then is still fourth. And then the two Paynoses, Gilbert Scott moves up into seventh, Ben Schneider up to eighth. And well, Yannick Delmas and Bernd Mailander complete the top 10. In the team standings, it is still Team BMW Motorsport ahead of Porsche and David Price Racing with the Panos, who excelled in both of these wet weather races. And that has been it for round 4 at Spa-Francorchamps for the GT Championship 1997. The next race will take place in Austria at the A1 ring in Spielberg. Subscribe to not miss that, leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.